Hey everybody, this is Francesco Abbruzzino with the Uncensored Report, and you see it, we're talking about it, but this video you see playing is more about the statistics and some of the information going on with or in regards to SNAP and food benefits. And I read an interesting article that is in line with this today. I thought it was interesting, and it's about how all these radical changes that Trump's looking at pushing out, and how the food stamp program is just part of this farm bill that's going to call for a bunch of reductions. A lot of activists are out there, and they're essentially, the article opine that they're exaggerating about the hunger that many Americans will go out when they lose this entitlement program. Basically, right now, food stamps are feeding about 42 million people. If you think about it in the grand scheme of things, we have, 320 million people here? So that's a lot of people. And the politicians are out there, and they're portraying these food stamps as a nutritional program. But it isn't really that, is it? What it actually is a blank check to go out there and buy a bunch of food that is generally not good for you, generally has a lot of calories. And it's become known as a dietary disaster. A lot of people will often ask, how are these people on food stamps starving or so big? And, I get it. My dad went back to Italy when I was, 3? And my mom had 4 of us. She didn't have a high school diploma, and she was working 2 and 3 jobs, and we needed food stamps. So I get the benefit behind them. The problem is that the way it's designed and some of the changes, which I'll cover in just a second. But it's a dietary disaster. If you go out there, there's a study by Walter Willett, and he's with Harvard University Department of Nutritional, and he's out there and he analyzed the program, he analyzed the participants, and he found that they were eating a horrible amount of food that was just not good for you. And that it was basically, the food stamp program is a diet that's designed to produce obesity, to produce diabetes, and a series of other issues. And they basically, that this program, the food stamp program, perpetuates the bailout, the welfare, if you will, corporate welfare bailout program of the junk food industry. And it was amazing because you look at the numbers, and they talked about soft drinks and how common they are amongst food stamp participants. I myself stopped drinking soft drink, sugar drinks, sodas and stuff years ago. I still do coffee. That's my downside. But get this. If you look at per household, people that are on food stamps, and you look at beverages, desserts, salty snacks, candy, sugar, and all that stuff, it's 20% of their expenditures that they're out there consuming on a daily basis, getting all that calories, all that fattening food, all that stuff that is not good for you. And they compared it to other groups. There was a study in 2015, the preventive medicine study, and they took this federal program, which was simply designed to boost calorie consumption, and that this program basically leads to rampant obesity. 40% of the low-income women were obese. And they found that in the study that food stamps basically do not justifiably prevent hunger. And what it actually does is that they found that more and more of the Americans actually go hungry on this program because the food stamps are being spent on food that just is not good for hunger pain. I mean, what are you going to get? What's going to net better results? Going out and eating a hamburger, or a hamburger that you're cooking at home, not a McDonald's hamburger, or going out and eating a bag of cookies and a Coke. So, and a lot of people, I can tell you, will go out and spend the food stamps on other things that they're allowed to spend on, which is not attributing to resolving the hunger pains that they're going through. So they looked at this. The National Academy of Sciences urged the USDA to create a hunger gauge back in 2006 to try to score it and see what's going on, what can be done, how can they not necessarily take away the money, but try to encourage the purchase of more healthier products like you're seeing in the video. There's some fruits, vegetables, and all that stuff. And according to Share Our Strength, No Hungry Kids campaign, 1 in 6 kids in the United States are facing hunger. That's horrific. 1 in 6 kids, folks. No, and according to the National Coalition for the Homeless, 1 in 5 kids go to bed and wake up hungry. And I think I just did a report the other day where we covered some of the biggest issues in the United States is the fact that people are going hungry and they can't afford houses. And so food stamps has its place there. But what they're doing is they're equating food security with hunger. And they're advocating this with the knowledge that food the food stamp program actually is contributing to unhealthiness via weight gain, diabetes, because they're buying the wrong stuff. And if you look at history, throughout human history, hungry people generally are gaunt. If you want to look at something as despicable as the concentration camps, that's a starving person. They're gaunt, right? But nowadays, a lot of these people that are on food stamps are huge. I was looking at some videos when I was trying to find a video to put on here via the, what's it called? I can't remember what it's called. But I was looking at different videos, and all these people were huge in it. And I was trying to find the right one to correlate with the message I wanted to put out. But they claim the question: is it really working? Is blaming obesity on hunger or food insecurity? Is this the way that the advocates are out there to try to absolve all these millions of people of the overweight problem that they're going through because they want to drink a big gulp soda? And they took another look at international data, and this was via the United Nations, who estimated last year that fewer than 2.5% Americans are undernourished, and 1.4% suffered from severe food insecurity, that they're not starving. We're not in Somalia where people just aren't eating. And what Trump is doing, he's out there and he's proposing replacing much of the food program that's out there with some type of box program. So essentially, instead of giving them, saying here's X amount of dollars, the government will, I hate when government steps in, but they're already in there, right? And they'll come in, they'll say, here's some box food. This is what you should be eating. We're going to switch to food distribution and try to get these people so that they're eating more healthy. The question is would it be far more effective to reform the food stamp program? I think so, and I think a lot of people out there believe so too. You can even go as far as you're not going to do a box food. You can go in and alter the program, say you can only use food stamps on XYZ, and try to make it so that they'll only buy the healthier products. Now, the downside, and I think the argument that I've heard before, is to eat healthy. If you ever go shopping for organic food and to eat healthy, it's far more expensive than to eat the processed food. And the processed food is what's killing us, folks. It's horrible. The food in the United States is, I think, by design there to kill off Americans. It's a form of depopulation, I've told my wife before. But there's this interesting statistic here on my screen. It says 2014 Stanford University, in this study, concluded that prohibiting the use of food stamps on sugary drinks would prevent 141,000 kids from becoming fat and save 250,000 adults from type 2 diabetes. So even if you don't want to do this box of food that Trump is suggesting or change the program or whatever, maybe make one change, that you can't go out and get these sugary products. Now, it's hard because sugar's in your hot damn hamburger buns, sugar's in everything. They got us. We're addicted. But some type of program, because you look at those numbers, folks, if you prohibit food stamps from sugary drinks, that's just sugary drinks, 141,000 kids would not become fat. 250,000 adults would be saved from type 2 diabetes. And it's just a reminder, about what's going on there. The hysteria isn't really hysteria. That food stamps really is a poor substitute for good quality food. You can't get caught up in the hysteria that taking food away from individuals will lead to hunger when the facts just don't support that. I was reading an article, and they basically came out and they said, look, there is no constitutional right to free junk food. It's just not there. If you truly want to help the hungry people out there without creating this illusory safety net, then you got to do more to spur obesity, do more to speed diabetes. One step in the right direction would be cutting off sugary drinks. Can't buy sodas. Can't buy this. And, I know it's difficult because sugar's in everything. Sugar's in everything. It's amazing. I lived in Italy, and it's amazing how much better the quality food was in southern Italy is. So, always interesting. Okay, so what say you guys? This has been Francesco Abbruzzino with the Uncensored Report.